Senator, Kiambu County, Kimani Mutangi is with us in studio, and we've been talking quite a bit about some of that political intolerance we've been witnessing in the country. And he says that responsibility, really, these leaders must take responsibility, although largely also saying that perhaps more blame lying with one side than with the other. Let's, however, talk about Makueni, and that has been theatrical, to say the least, we've been treated to. What's happening there?
Well, you know, I was telling myself that you know, whatever is happening in Makueni, whatever the differences that are there between the leaders in Makueni, what we saw and what we've seen is not justifiable. It's not acceptable. I mean, it doesn't matter how much political competition there are between two groups. And you know, I asked myself today, if you look at yesterday's newspapers, there were 2 full pages of paid-up adverts. After that, then you have appearance by the governor and his team again on TV saying that, you know, we want to call for dissolution of the entire county government and have fresh elections. Then you have the other team running adverts, running into millions of shillings. And I would rather say to the leaders of Makueni that that is not the way to go. I mean, it is for them to sort out their differences properly like leaders and show the world and the country a united front and a capability and ability between themselves to resolve their issues. But you know, they cannot whine and cry and tell us, come and save us, you know, when they've been elected.
Why do you think the blame lies? Because we're seeing the governor coming out and saying, you know, in fact, what, I've started collecting signatures, let's dissolve this thing.
You know, Sophie, I was in Makueni 2 weeks before this incident happened on a parliamentary mission work, and I had a chance to sit with the governor, and I also had a chance to sit with the county assembly. And the impression I get is that one, there is a misunderstanding between both sides as to where is the line drawn between who does what and who doesn't do what. One, I would want to probably say to the governor and his team that the authority, the responsibility of oversight, of seeing to the penny what happens to county resources lies with the county assembly. And there is no way they can take away that responsibility. It is constitutional. If they are asked questions, if it is the CECs in his government, you know, his nominees in the various dockets, those nominees must answer questions that are asked by the county assembly properly and fully to their satisfaction. If it is a question of how much did you spend on this vote or this issue to the governor, then he also must answer those questions. But also to the county assembly, I would want to say, including their leadership, that the way to address issues if they overrun what they think should happen right is not to shoot at the governor and his team. It's not to fire at them. I mean, that is no way to resolve the differences. And I don't think either of the two groups can claim to be right, in my opinion. They can't, nobody can claim to be right. The only thing that can be right for those two groups is to come up together and to say to the people of Makueni that we owe you an apology as a whole team. And we'll recap this and we'll do it better next time and let them get to work and forget all these other side shows, you know. So
corruption allegations are at the heart of this, you know, both sides being thrown around. And I understand the Murkomen-led team is going to Makueni for a fact-finding mission.
That's right.
But for you, and when you hear the governor, chair, council of governors say that, you know what, if by this week no resolution is reached, no solution, then we shall move and seek to dissolve the county. What for you is the solution? Because this has been a dicey one from the very beginning. Earlier on in the year, we had the governor wanting to quit, to step aside as governor. So there's been something deeply wrong, ailing Makueni County. What is the solution in your opinion?
I think right now, if we cannot claim that every time you have an impasse, a problem at the county government, then the solution is fast hand to go into dissolution. And then would have no county government standing by the end of this 5-year term. there should be a better mechanism of addressing differences between leaders. And that solution is always dialogue. It's always compromise. You don't expect at any level of government things to flow and there to be constant agreement all the time. People differ, but differ with dignity. And I think that's a whole problem in Makueni. They are letting their egos, their opinions stand ahead of them, both of the sides. Because, you know, I believe I was the governor of Makueni, and I find that the other side is extremely inconsiderate. I would go out of my way and ensure out of the whole mob I can get 2 or 3 who can reason. And the other side the same way too. And so I completely do not agree that the way forward is to dissolve the county government of Makueni. What you're saying is that you're going to subject the entire population of Makueni to another election. You're going to take them through another cycle of campaigning, that you're going to spend more resources on them just to go and put in a few leaders in place. And you're also saying that between now and that period, you're going to deny them services, you know, as they wait for those people to resolve some of those issues. But like I've also categorically said, I also do not agree that if you think that a governor and a county executive arm is not either compliant or congruent to what you think should be happening as the outside body, that the way to go is in a confrontation and fight with guns. I don't agree with that either. So let those people do the honorable thing and bring dignity to the county of Makueni and to the people of Makueni by standing up and owning up and saying we were wrong, both sides, and say, give us an opportunity to show a united front to this country and move forward.
Let's go back to the Jubilee House and some of what has been happening there recently. And some have said that the deputy president has been having a really hard time keeping his house in order with governors especially, and even we've seen MPs from his backyard rising against the official Jubilee position. Why do you think that is so? And more so for the governor, Bomet Governor Isaac Ruto. He's been very vocal leading this push on Pesa Mashinani.
Probably.
Did they get a road deal?
Probably from an outsider's view, one would get the impression that you have stated that as though that there is disunity on the side of the deputy president's side, but I don't think that is so. That is not so. We have opinions of 1 or 2 or 3 people, and to be able to see the right picture, you need to remind yourself or remind ourselves how many people comprise of the entire URP team. You know, how many governors are within the URP team? How many senators are within the URP team and the members of parliament? And ask yourself then, how many of them have been dissenting? And then you can see it is a small minority. That small minority, I think, having had the wrong impression or the wrong way to do what they want to do. One, like I've said, and I have all respect for the governor, for Bomet. But you see, you cannot claim to be a lone ranger swimming against the tide and claiming to be the only right person in a whole.
But he's had quite a number of people stand with him. In a whole sea of leaders. I'll tell you what. You see, we in Jubilee also mind and take care of what is happening within our regions. And I cannot claim as the Senator of Kiambu to uniquely be informed about the issues of Kiambu, because we have other elected leaders. Yes, I do have an opinion, but my opinion can only be cemented when it is put in conjunction with what the other leaders observe and know and listen to our people and then come up with a common position. But I cannot claim that I'm the only right person in Kiambu County, that when everybody else thinks that this should be the direction for Kiambu, that I should be swimming opposite. And I think this is the point that the governor of Bomet is missing. That he has got an elected senator with him, he's got elected members of parliament, he's got elected MCAs, and he has a whole population of the people of Bomet to take care of. And so sometimes you can have a personal opinion, but you don't have to fight it out and But he's not been standing alone, sir, before we wrap up. He's not been standing alone.
Well, fine. He's not been standing alone. He's had a few colleagues, but you saw what's been happening. Yesterday,
they've been receiving calls. Newspaper reports indicate directly from the deputy president.
No, I mean, you expect that to be
reported
to be those kind of reports when when somebody has expressed themselves. But if today you tell me, and look at the governor, for example, the governor of Nandi, the governor of Kericho. Yesterday, the governor of Nandi was saying that he has heard what his people are saying. Indeed, he was in a public rally. And sometimes if me and you meet and you give me what your views are, and I tend to buy into those views, before I listen to my people, I could rush to say that this is what I think. But I'll tell you what, largely, the entire Jubilee team and the people who have elected us in this country have taken responsibility as to how this nation needs to move forward for the next 5 years. The call is on us, and we have to show direction. And even when one of us is wrong, like Isaac Ruto has been, then it is important to tell him, get back to tune, and let's march forward.
So you think he'll abandon the push?
He should.
He should.
He should.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Senator.